Good to see you guys as always. Appreciate your guys' time. Come on, Johnny. Good morning. No, I appreciate you guys being here. We're excited, and we're here. Time goes quick, but our team has done a great job this summertime. Coach Hilgart and his staff, as our strength and conditioning coach, has had one of the best summers that we've had in a long time. We haven't won any games yet, but I'm very proud of where we're at to this point. You talk about a group of guys. It's the second they got back in June to train. Have done a great job day in and day out and kept stacking days. That's really what we talked about as a team is keep stacking days. Preseason rankings, preseason awards really don't mean anything. We got to go earn it every single day, and the teams that do that consistently are going to be the best team on game day, which is what we got to work our tail off to do. So finished the summer training cycle last Friday. Like I said, Coach Hilgart and his staff did a phenomenal job. Hats off to our players coming to work every day. Training room, how they eat, how they sleep, how they hydrate, and obviously the work they put in the weight room and on the field. And so they did a really good job. That's just now the right to then go have a really good fall camp. So we start fall camp Wednesday, practice 1. Can't wait, month before kickoff. And we know the opponent that we have waiting for us in Statesboro August 31st. And we got to be ready, and we will be, but it's going to take everything. And we know how they're training and what they're going through down there. So everything we do is working our tail off to be ready to go game 1. So I'm proud of what we did this summertime, but now we open up another transition, which is fall camp. And we got to make sure we do the best we can to have the best fall camp in the country. And it's stacking one day at a time. No different for us as coaches and players. Fall camp practice 1, ton of juice, always, ton of energy. How can we be fall camp practice 8, 9? That's really what we're going to test to find out the fracture point to make sure we're ready to go play the season that we need to. So proud of our leadership of our team, proud of our coaches, our staff. But now, like I said, we just got the right to go have a really good fall camp. So start fall camp Wednesday, and just a couple injury updates, just so everybody's aware. Caden Anderson, a tight end freshman, came in, had a pre-existing knee injury. He's going to be out for the rest of the season, just making sure he's healthy for the long term. Sheo Ladipo broke a little bone in his wrist, so he's not missing anything. He's full go, but just if you guys see a little cast on his hand. Jaden Virgin, Ben Dooley, Cam Camper, and Zamadre will all be a little bit limited to start. Everyone's at a little different spot, but they all will be ready to roll as we go throughout fall camp. But some of those guys will be limited in some capacity as we start. Might just be Indy and 7-on-7, but those guys will be limited just to start fall camp. So once again, Jaden, Ben Dooley, Cam Camper, and Zamadre will just be limited in some form or fashion, but they will be full go as we roll through fall camp. Precautionary, just making sure that they are healthy to roll. So we're very excited, guys. I know Bronco Nation as well, and that's the thing we even talked about a couple weeks down at Mountain West Media Days is there's a lot of great excitement and buzz, and our players deserve that. But we got to continue to earn it every single day. And right now, that's us going to work. Right now, we had a really good meetings and lift today, no different for tomorrow as a report day, and then we hit the ground running Wednesday with practice. So we are very excited as a staff. I know Bronco Nation is excited. I know you guys are excited. And so now it's just us continue to put the work in every single day. So with that, open up to some questions.
You didn't mention Madison in terms of being limited. So where is Maddox, and how eager are you to see him and start to figure out this quarterback situation?
Yeah, BJ, so good question. Across our entire team, there's a ton of position battles that I cannot wait to see going to fall camp. Obviously, quarterback being one of them. Maddox and Malachi are going to compete at an extremely high level. I will name a starter prior to game week, and that's our goal. Right now, Maddox and Malachi will compete in everything they do. Maddox is full go, Malachi is as well, and so let the competition begin. That is one competition battle. There's a lot of them across the board because the only way we're going to get to where we need to is the competition has to be through the roof across all levels. There's guys that have played a lot of football for us. My job is that the number 2 right behind him is trying to catch him as quickly as he can. So there's a lot of position battles across, and I'm excited to see those play out through fall camp.
In terms of those quarterbacks, when you've seen both guys in practice, you've seen them in game-like situations, at the end of the day, what's going to determine who starts in the opening week?
Whoever gives us the best opportunity to win games will be the starter game 1. Yep.
Will Maddox still kind of go in being oranges, or has that kind of switched through?
Yeah, so we're still working through it. So to start fall camp practice 1, Maddox will get the blue reps or our first team reps. Malachi will get the 2 reps. And then, but that will be moved around as we go through fall camp. Want to see Malachi then with some of the blues. See Maddox with the orange. There's going to be that transition. Me and Dirk are going to be working hand in hand as we go through fall camp to make sure competition's through the roof. Everything's going to be graded. Everything's going to be analyzed. It's going to be very black and white. And whatever quarterback gives us the best opportunity to win games will be the starter.
What have you learned about Malachi in the spring?
It was awesome to see Malachi continue to grow day in and day out. If you watch spring ball practice 1 and the spring game, just seeing his growth and development for those 15 practices, that's a testament to his work ethic and who he is. And now now going into the summertime into fall camp, he knows the offense now. He's done a really good job studying it, so now he can compete at the highest level he can.
Better anything specifically in the summer, and where did he get better specifically?
The biggest thing in the summertime, obviously there's football, there's installs, we're going through football, but it's making sure for him putting some body armor on, getting to be strong, making sure he's explosive. And so that's the stuff that he worked with Coach Hilgart, our training staff, to make sure that he can compete at the highest level because he's got the body armor and strength to develop his body.
A lot was made about kind of how Malachi was learning the playbook and quickly picked it up. How much better did he even get over the summer?
It's been awesome to see him continue to take those strides, because then going into summer, because you got spring ball, then you've got the summer installs, and now really the third cycle is fall camp. So now as he's getting in these installs, now there's that confidence for him now too. So it's no longer there's obviously little intricacies that you got to continue to learn in meetings and in walkthroughs and everything you do, but now he's going to be able to go into fall camp practice 1 with a lot more confidence because he knows that. That's where true confidence comes from, is the preparation that you know exactly what you're supposed to do so you can do it at a high level. So he has more of that now. And so it's excited to see Maddox and Malachi, who both are extremely confident competitors, go at it.
Just initially that Maddox will kind of get the run of the Blues. Why does he get that right out of the gate?
Yeah, Maddox Madsen has a lot of equity with this team. I mean, you talk about a guy that humble and hungry, low ego, high output, that's Maddox Madsen. And that's who he is not only when I'm around him, that's how his teammates sees him, and that's what he was able to do last season before getting hurt. You talk about a guy that competed throughout last season to start games, to win the starting spot really last season, got injured. That's the name of the game in football. But he's earned the right to go into fall camp, getting the blue reps. But competition be through the roof for him and Malachi. Malachi's new in January with Maddox not being able to go through spring ball with the knee injury. Now that he's healthy, we're going to be able to go head-to-head competition.
There'll be in some other position battles and things. I mean, if you're looking at the quarterback first, where's your head turning second? I mean, what's next on your list?
The other 21 players, BJ. That's a good question, BJ. I don't know if there's one right off the top of my head, but I do promise you, and I'm not saying that to dodge the question, I do promise you the biggest goal for me from January to now was trying to how we recruited, how we trained, to make sure at every position there was extreme competition going throughout this whole season, but especially in fall camp. That is the only way for you to grow and thrive, to be the best version of yourself, is for you obviously a true competitor competes with himself. It doesn't matter who's around. But I want to make sure that guy behind him is so close that if I have one day that I'm off my game and I'm not everything I need to be for this team, I am going to get caught. And that together makes everybody improve. And so that was our goal this whole off season, from how our guys trained to who we recruited, is to make sure that that's the way it was, that at every position there was that competition through the roof. Obviously, everybody's at a different place. Some guys have been here, a lot of equity with our team. Some haven't been, but still, even guys that have been here, my goal is I told our team, I'm trying to go out recruit you every single day, and your job to make sure that doesn't happen is how you work every single day, and that's been a testament to our players because they've done that. And so now I'm excited to go into fall camp to where every single position will be graded every single day and how they compete. And then, like I said, going into game week, we'll know who our starters are. And even as we go through the season, obviously we're going to have our starters that we name going into game 1 to go play Georgia Southern. That's going to change as we go through the season. We've seen that constantly evaluated to make sure the 11 players on the field at one point in time, offense, defense, special teams, have earned every single bit of it.
Your first fall camp as a head coach. Describe the tone of Spencer Danielson's practices. Will it be anything like what we saw in the spring?
High energy. I'm going to have a lot of fun out there. I believe you can do really hard work and still have a smile on your face. I love going to work. I love our staff, and you guys, I'm going to beat a dead horse. I love our players. There's nothing I won't do for them. And so being able to go out on that field and compete with them and run around out there, I can't wait. It's going to be high energy, going to be intense. It's going to be fast and efficient too. Going to make sure our practices are crisp. When that horn hits, there's no holding the clock. When that horn hits, we are moving to the next period. You better know where you're going, or I'm going to be chasing you there. Like, I want to be fast. I want to be efficient, because that's the game we play. And there's going to be times throughout fall camp that the coaches and the players look at the practice plan, it's going to be different than they think, because that's the way a game is too. All of a sudden, you get punched in the mouth in the second quarter. How are you going to respond? And so, but we're going to have a lot of fun doing it. I want our players coming to work every day with a smile on their face. You can do really hard work and grow and develop to be the best version of yourself and still have fun doing it. And I think that's the key to life. So it's going to be high energy, going to be intense. Guys will be flying around. There ain't going to be no walking. Or like I said, I'm going to be chasing them down. I will be wearing all black with my hoodie on, just so that when it's winter time, no one could tell me I'm soft because it's cold outside. So I get that settled in the summertime.
Just kind of along those lines, your first-year head coach, so you've been here for, what is it, 8 years?
This is year number 8.
Year
Yep.
number 8. How has your experience helped you and maybe expedite this process, because it doesn't really feel like you are, a first-year head coach,
Yeah.
at least new to the program?
There's been constant evaluation for me over the years, Jay, in regards to how we can grow, how can we make whatever period we're in that cycle, right? If it's spring ball, what are some things maybe to this point that I like, maybe some things that I wanted to change. No different for fall camp. There's some things that we're going to do in fall camp that we've done here before. There's some traditions that I believe in. There's some things we do. There's some things that I want to evolve and change. But even with the things that we evolve and change, it's constant calls to mentors of mine, to coaches, to a lot of different people. I told our team, it is my job to make sure the fall camp schedule and how we're going to do it is the best in the country. That's my job. I have to make sure that that's the way it is. So I had countless calls to mentors, head coaches across the country, from anything to how to do post practice. What's the right way to matriculate your schematics? Everything. How to take care of bodies. How to be efficient. Because game one, we've lost game one here a couple years in a row. How can we be our best football game one? Ready and fresh. But you still got to you still got to work. You still got to make sure you're getting all the time and to be the toughest team as well. So there's a lot of things to culminate to start fast game one. And so, Jay, to answer your question, a lot of calls, a lot of research. Obviously, there's things that near and dear to my heart that I feel very passionate and confident that we need to do and some changes to make. But I am very confident the plan we have in place for our players to develop this fall camp is the best in the country. Very confident in it.
You learned about your Sunday practice schedule in Vegas. You just talked about some changes. Specifically, what are 2 or 3 or 4 of the changes? Can you share some of the things that you're going to do differently?
Yeah, there's some things, Mike, just even early on, like practices to start fall camp are going to be a little bit shorter than they've been. Just a little bit to make sure there is a ramp up as you get into fall camp 1, 2, 3. There's even, not to go into the intricacies, but there's even some things that we had installed early in fall camp that we are going to wait to install to when we get more pads on. Because obviously to start fall camp practice 1 and 2, it's helmets and spiders. And so instead of putting in maybe some of our DNA run schemes to start fall camp, we're going to put those in when we've got shoulder pads on. So there's a little bit of some install standpoint. We're going to lift more in fall camp to make sure we're explosive and strong throughout fall camp. Because right now, last Friday we ended summer training. Our guys are fast, explosive, strong. Like I said, Coach Hilgart has done a phenomenal job with our young men. But now it's our job as coaches and me as the leader of this program to make sure that we get our time in the weight room so we stay strong, explosive through fall camp. So when we get to game 1, Georgia Southern, which is a huge opponent for us, we are still the same explosive athlete we were right there in July.
I noticed on the practice schedule 2 Inferno days. I believe there's only been 1 in the past.
Yep.
Did you just double up just because of the Georgia Southern game?
Yeah, Georgia Southern meetings. And once again, ton of research of guys that have played down there. Obviously, we played down there, Florida State, UCF. We played a lot of games on that side of the country, game 1. But once again, what is the best way to do it? Instead of just, as a coach, you always have a couple decisions to make. Obviously, continue to do what we've done. But for me, is there a better way? Is there a better way? I ask our coaches that all the time. Is there a better way? What moves the needle? I'm okay to be different. We talk about being built different all the time. I'm okay to be built different and find different ways to evolve. And a lot of research was doing 2 of them. And so finding ways to make sure we heat up that indoor and raise the humidity. Because it's going to be hot out here for fall camp, but we don't get the humidity. But being able to do 2 of those Inferno days is going to help us.
With Ashton Genty, just to make sure he's ready to go 100%, for that first game.
Yeah, so obviously going into fall camp as a running back, the shots on the body, but he needs those. And so he's going to get his work in each day. All the reps he's getting, BJ, are planned out. We're going to get him some scrimmage reps. I right now, BJ, I can't tell you exactly what it's going to look like in that scrimmage from reps, but I know same thing. Made a lot of calls on especially that position, at running back, how to keep him keep him safe, keep him healthy for game one, but he also needs to make sure his body is taking hits in fall camp, because that's how your body grows and gets ready for the shots you're going to take game one. So we've got a really good plan for Ashton, a couple of our guys that are returners that have been through a lot of football. But you got to get your work in. He's got to take his shots. He's got to know what it feels like to be tackled to the ground. He's got to know what that feels like. So what exactly that looks like from rep standpoint and how much he's going to get, BJ, we're still working through that, and it's going to be a day-to-day evaluation. But I do know that we're going to be very smart with Ashton, but we're going to make sure he gets his work so he's ready.
You guys are looking for a compliment to Ahmed Hassan in terms of pass rushing. What have you seen out of Tavion Woodard and Jaden Virgin Morgan that gives you confidence that they can be that guy?
Yeah. Jaden Virgin Morgan has had a phenomenal offseason. Not only just where he's at right now, but you talk about a guy that finished the season very strong for us defensively as a redshirt freshman, and then now going into the winter, spring, summer. Once again, Coach Hilgard did a great job with him as well. I mean, he's changed his body. One of the most explosive players on our front, and he is going to be a huge compliment to Ahmed on the other side. He's going to go into fall camp as the starting stud, and he deserves every bit of it. Now, continuing to keep that spot is on him to work and achieve that every single day, but I'm extremely excited about the season that Jaden's going to have for us, and he's earned it. And you talk about a guy that his football IQ has even gone through the roof. We're going to put him in a lot of different spots. Tavion Woodard, obviously being a transfer coming in through spring ball, learned and grew a lot through spring. He had a good summer as well. Max Steege is back healthy from missing spring ball. So there's going to be really good competition at edge. Roman Kaywood's a young freshman that has had a great spring and a great summer. So excited to see what a young true freshman is going to be able to do for us. And once again, competition. I said, guys, you are what you put on tape. Not what you tweet about, not what your parents tell me. You are what you put on tape. And now going into fall camp practice one, you are exactly who you put on tape fall camp practice one.
You mentioned Roman, we talked a lot about sire games in the spring. Do you anticipate, a few freshmen that will be able to, step in right away?
I absolutely hope so. And that's our call to all our freshmen. Obviously, we had freshmen that came in January, early enrollee. We had some freshmen that came in June. That's why they came. And I tell our freshmen every time, none of our freshmen came here hoping to redshirt or hoping not to play. They came here to play. They came here to win championships, play in the NFL, and be developed. Everybody's timeline is different. Maybe some of it's their body. Maybe some of it is just how they pick up football. But we're going to give those freshmen every opportunity to play on offense and defense. Once again, they have to earn it. But then special teams with Coach Collins is going to be a huge part as well. But even our special teams, and Coach Collins actually talked to our team this morning, it is not a situation for us on special teams. Well, okay, you're not quite a starter on offense and defense, so I guess we got to find a role for you on special teams. Every position on special teams is earned now too. I don't care what position they play on offense and defense, those starters on those four teams, they will earn that, because that's the lifeblood of your team, and how you come together is how you play on special teams. So even those spots on special teams and those spots on the bus to go to the travel squad to go play Georgia Southern, every single one of those will be earned.
Sire, obviously you have impressive depth at running back, but what do you envision as his role in the offense this season?
Yeah, excited to see what he does in fall camp. He did a really good job through spring ball, an early enrollee freshman that came on the scene strong. Let's see what he does in fall camp. Has done a great job this summertime, Ron, with how he trained. And that's just who he is. That's how he's wired. When you talk about a young man that's built different, he can't wait to compete and be the best version of himself in all facets. But we go into fall camp practice one. Breezy's had a great summer so far too. He's moving and explosive as he's ever been. Obviously, you know about Ashton. T. Crow, healthy, ready to roll through. We weren't able to see him in spring ball. He's healthy to come into fall camp. So, Ethan Makita, healthy, ready to go into fall camp. So our running back room is in a really good spot. Excited to see. And we're going to use those running backs in a lot of situations, 2 running back sets, a lot of different stuff to make sure we put the best 11 on the field every time.
Sire is literally built different, right? Is he maybe the most physically impressive freshman you've seen since Ashton?
He's definitely up there. He's strong, explosive, and he works at it every single day. Yes, there's God-given ability, no question. But since I've been around him with my own eyes, there's not many people that outwork him. I promise you that.
Devon Banks, expectations, ceiling, is he brought in as a depth guy? I know competition is going to lead to potentially starting, but why Devon Banks?
Yeah, obviously knew Devon Banks. We recruited him out of high school. Went to Washington, so we had a prior relationship with him. Went to San Jacinto High School. home of Sheldon Newton, know their head coach. He's a phenomenal guy. And so know who he was, who he is as a person. And so when he was in the transfer portal, he's a guy that not only we knew he was a person, but I also knew how he would help our team. And especially in the back end, we knew that we needed to keep competition through the roof in our secondary. And the secondary we had last year, yeah, we took our lumps early on. I believe we played our best football later in the year. And so going into spring ball and summertime, defensively, Mike, it was a huge point on we got to make sure competition is through the roof in our secondary. And so bringing in Devon Banks, I mean, he has not played football here yet, but on paper I know the type of competitor he is, and I know the type of skill set he has, and he has a chance to compete for a starting spot on defense and special teams. Now he's got to go earn it, because we've got some really good guys in front of him that have earned it, but he's gonna turn the heat up on, and I'm excited to see what he does in fall camp.
The receiver room. I mean, do you see this thing maybe working itself out? A lot of mouths to feed, Spencer. 2,000-yard receivers or more like 400, 500, 600-yard receivers?
Yeah.
Do you prefer one or the other either?
John, good question, man. I mean, I'm excited to see now that we finally got everybody healthy going into fall camp. Still a couple guys limited. So a lot of this is going to shake itself out through fall camp, Johnny. This is a group of guys that we were able to see some of them in spring. Some of them were still inhibited from injuries from either the season or stuff prior. But they've done a really good job this summer. I mean, seeing these guys attack the deck, seeing how they've been working their tail off to get healthy. I mean, Cam Camper's a guy that wasn't able to go through spring and just is working his tail off in the training room, in the weight room to get healthy, and now being able to see him come into fall camp. I haven't seen him catch football yet. I haven't seen him do some of this stuff yet. So I'm excited to see him. I know what I've heard. All I know, what I've seen, is he works his tail off, and so I'm excited to see him come in. So long-winded answer to your question, John, I'm excited to see this receiver room compete. I do know competition through the roof. We're going to find a way to get all these boys the rock. I can promise you that. We're going to find a way to rotate to where our best guys are on the field catching touchdowns. That's a promise. But who earns it every single day? And once again, availability is a huge part to a receiver. How fast you are, how explosive you are, if you can't find a way on the field because of injury, it ain't going to help us. So we got to make sure these guys stay healthy, stay on the attack. But it was a huge point of emphasis this offseason was improving our pass game offensively, and we have the weapons to do it. Now we just got to go earn it.
What you know in terms of Cam, you said he's limited to start. Do you expect the timeline for him to be not limited 100% by the end of fall camp?
Yes, that is the plan, Mike. It's a short-term window. We just want to keep working into it. But the plan is for him to be 100% full go, Mike, by the end of fall camp as we roll through it.
All those limited guys as well?
Yes, yep.
The last 2 years ended early by injury. How hungry is he to just really go out there and show what he can do?
He's hungry, and I see that not because of what he tells me, because of how he works. And talking with Garrett Hawley, our head athletic trainer, he's in there all the time grinding. He's getting his extra work on the side. When I talk to Coach Hilgart, how he's doing the weight room, or once again, what I see him do, he's training his tail off. And a young man that came in here as a transfer and has gotten the buy-in of his teammates. So I've seen him work. Now I'm excited to see him play the game.
Not necessarily fall camp related, but Jeremiah Dickey, what has he meant to this department in terms of leadership and vision for the future, and what has he meant to you personally?
Yeah, I talked about Jeremiah a little bit at media days. Jeremiah Dickey's a 10 out of 10. And as the head football coach here, the amount of support that he gives me, the amount of trust that I have in him is through the roof. And a guy that is a relentless worker, is always on the hustle to push our athletics programs forward. And I talk to a lot of different head coaches. It's not this way everywhere. To have an athletic director that is sold out to be a part of Bronco Nation, this athletic department, and push it to new heights. Because we all know in college athletics, if you hang out and you don't move and you're not on the attack to be what's next, to be pushing forward, you will be left behind. And with Jeremiah Dickey at the helm, we are pushing forward with his staff to new heights. I believe that. And that's a testament to him, how hard he works, the guys, the young ladies and men that he has around him. That's a testament to who he's hired and who he is. And so Jeremiah Dickey, how important he is to this football program and our athletics department as a whole, he's extremely valuable. And I will stand the table to promote Jeremiah Dickey as a leader here and who he is to me personally. He's a 10 out of 10.
Well, I know this isn't really your department, but given that, how important is it for them to give him a contract extension as soon as possible?
Yeah, I know he's working through it day to day right now, Ron. Where it's at, I can't really speak to. But I can promise you it is a huge deal for our football program and our university to make sure Jeremiah Dickey's our athletic director. And I know Dr. Trump and their administration is working through it. It is a huge deal to make sure Jeremiah Dickey is our athletic director.
In terms of,
We can go a couple more.
With
Yeah.
Marco's had an up and down.
Who?
I mean, Marco with his
Yep.
health, right? He's on the field for you guys though. At least last year, he was really productive. What's Marco capable of doing? He's in the center of your defense. He's the heartbeat of your defense. How much is going to be on his plate?
Marco, and I've talked about this a little bit. Marco, coaching the linebackers last year as the defensive coordinator, he is one of the best football players I've ever coached that can go from a Tuesday morning meeting where maybe I'm saying, hey, right hash, this formation, we want to get the front set here, whatever maybe that little intricacy is, and he will remember it in game. I mean, he is very special in regards to how he puts up football and his football IQ. He's one of the best I've been around. Obviously has been inhibited by injuries in his time here. Torn his ACL, he's just been through a lot. So seeing him healthy now on the field with our defense, because not only the plays that Marco makes, the tackles or the sacks or whatever the production is, I mean, he is a leader on that field. He communicates through the roof. He makes sure the whole front seven's on the same page. He is loud. He is vocal, and that is needed as the Mike linebacker in this defense. So he's an integral part to our defense. And I brought this up before. Jake Ripp has had a phenomenal offseason. So I'm excited now with Marco back out there, Jake Ripp, to see those guys compete. And we're going to find ways, you guys know defensively, we're going to have a bunch of different packages to make sure our best 11 in situations are on the field.
in terms of punt return, kick return, what kind of personnel will you start with on Wednesday?
Yeah, that's a good question, Mike. I know Coach Collins has a list of about 5 to 6 punt returners and kickoff returners because that's a huge emphasis from last season. Our return game has to improve. So the competition is going to be high to start, and that will be whittled down to 2 or 3 going into probably scrimmage number 2, Mike. So right now we're going to start with a large number. We've seen a couple of them in spring ball. Maybe some of them came in the summertime, and then we're going to whittle that number down as we go through fall camp. Good question. Well, I appreciate you guys, man. Fired up to see you guys Wednesday.